All right, I'd like to call to order the Irvine International Academy Board of Directors meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd. It is 6:02 p.m. We are located at 4782 Karen Ann Lane, Irvine, California 92604. Thank you for all that are here in attendance. I'd like to start with roll call. Molly?
Present.
Felipe?
Present.
Brett is present. David is absent. Moving to the next item, approval of the agenda for the regular meeting of the Irvine International Academy Board of Directors on July 22nd, 2025. It's recommended the Board of Directors approve the agenda for the regular meeting of the Irvine International Academy Board of Directors. Today, is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Felipe. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Molly. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Okay, next moving to item 2, community input on closed session agenda items. Members of the public may comment on items listed on the closed session agenda only. Public comments, including emailed comments, should be limited to 3 minutes per comment with up to 20 minutes of public comment. Do we have any public comments for closed session items?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to closed session. Forecast probably 30 to 40 minutes, hopefully. Then we will reconvene back here and provide a report out if any action items were taken. Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for your patience. We are reconvening. The time is 6:53 p.m. The report out is that we are working on the draft for the Executive Director rubric, and we have some updates to make. We are planning at the next board meeting, probably have another closed session to review the updates, and what we're looking at doing is increasing the weighting, the priority related to parental feedback and input, increasing that weight. Certainly we want to ensure that we're properly capturing the viewpoints of our community here, and that the Executive Director is being held accountable to those viewpoints. So thank you all. That's all I have on that particular item. Moving next to the flag salute. Are there any volunteers?
I'll just give you the meeting.
All right, Molly, thank you.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Moving to the next item, community input on agendized and non-agendized items. The public may comment on items listed on the agenda, including the consent calendar, presentation, discussion, committee, and action items. The public may also comment on items not listed on the agenda that are within the legal purview of the Board of Directors. Do we have any community public comments? Okay. Thank you. Moving on to the next item, item 8, items for consent. We've got 2 items there. The approve the minutes from the regular meeting of the IAA Board of Directors on June 10, 2025, and approve the personnel report. It's recommended the Board of Directors approve consent items A and B. Is there a motion?
I will motion so.
Thank you, Felipe. I'm happy to second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Okay, moving on to items for presentation. First item is after-school programs and school update. Mr. Grant Schmitter.
Good evening. So I'm going to kind of give everyone an update too on our after-school program, the work that we've been doing with that, and that's going to be communicated out very soon to our families, as well as give you a general update on the school, what we've been doing this summer, and just all the plans we have in place. So first, I'm going to go through our step to you on our summer and after-school programs. If you recall, back in January, Dr. Kernan gave you a proposed plan that I think that was approved in next month for to update our after-school program. So this is kind of the result of that. So the plan was approved, so now we've put in things in place. And because it is a change, because before, I'm sure you remember, but everything was just handed over to strategic kids. Both our students who qualify for ELOC funding and our paid childcare. So it's all kind of just thrown together. So now we have different programs for after school, and we want to kind of explain the differences between those. Just to give you a little bit of background, we are running our own after school program, and what we're calling this is our after school clubs. So when you hear after school clubs, that is the program that's going to be ran by IIA. I oversee it. Mr. Gio, our after school coordinator, does a lot of the groundwork, but he will be the day-to-day one running it. But that's kind of what that's going to be called. We're also going to have YMCA, which is our paid childcare option. And then we're also going to have options from strategic kids for classes. So Dr. Henry has met with strategic kids, and they're still going to be around. They're not running the same program they did before. They're going to be focusing more on specific classes, which I'll go into detail in a little bit, which is what they specialize in. That's what they're known for. Now we have control over our ELOC funding, because I'm sure you remember what we used to do is we take all the funding we received and we hand it over to the strategic kids, and they ran it. But now we can, by having control over it, we can have quality control. So staffing, program changes, things like that, we oversee that, we can change it. We can now use our funds more effectively. So instead of handing things over, now we can utilize it for staffing, but also for supplies. And then we can also utilize those supplies to benefit all of our students in school as well. So it's kind of works for the benefit of everybody. And then it's actually going to provide more options to our families as well. So a lot of what I just explained is the differences between there. And we will be having club options starting from 7:30 in the morning till 4:30 p.m. for our clubs. Just before I go into that, I do have a quick summer update. Tomorrow is actually the end of our Summer Panda Pros program, which has been running for 6 weeks. We average between 85 to 90 students per day, and everything has gone smoothly. We've gotten positive feedback from families. And now, one thing that we're going to be able to offer next year is a paid summer camp program through YMCA. If you recall, they couldn't do it this year because of licensing. This is the time frame of that, but they'll have their licensing is going to be in place. So we'll have our own summer program again next year for students who qualify for ELOC funding. But we'll also have a paid summer program for families who want that here through YMCA.
Question on that?
Yeah.
Would it end next year similar to how it's ending this year?
Which one? Our summer, ours, or our YMCA?
So ours is ending tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
So next year, because of this new program coming into place with YMCA, will we offer all summer long next year, or will it also end similar time frame as?
So our program runs 6 weeks, so it's 30 days,
Yeah.
6 weeks. YMCA, theirs can run longer. That will probably be dictated by parent interests.
Okay.
But they do, yes, they can go longer. Thank you. All right, so from starting at 7:30, for families will be able to sign up for it. Families can drop their students off as early as 7:30. They can get some homework help. We'll have staff supervising. They can get their breakfast during that time as well. Our staff will supervise them. It's going to be our staff doing it, and then they'll be walking into the classroom. One thing that you find too is a lot of students go through the homework. They have help. They can't get that help at home, especially since there's a lot of Mandarin homework. A lot of our families don't speak Mandarin, but they can always, that would be an option for them if they want that extra support in the morning, just to kind of get that help. So we'll have that available for our families in the morning starting this year.
Very quick question.
Yep.
So that portion that you're talking about, that's considered the club?
Yeah.
So this portion you're talking about right
Yes.
now, that's the club portion?
Yes, exactly. Yep. All right, and then this is the after-school clubs. So a lot of information on there. So it's going to be available Monday through Friday, depending on what grade level. It's going to start either 2:45 or 3 p.m. It's 15 minutes after dismissal time. It doesn't mean they're going to be unsupervised, but it gives us time for the students to when they dismiss them, they can go to the group, kind of give them a little bit of a snack, and then they will go to their clubs from there. And it's going to run to 4:30 p.m. And this will be available to all students who qualify for ELOP funding. And that's one thing that we kind of want to reiterate is that this program is called, through ELOP funding, is called Extended Learning Opportunities Program. And so what that means is that it's for students who are EL students or who qualify through free and reduced lunch or McKinney-Vento. It gives them that opportunities and they get priority for signing up for these clubs. However, based off our numbers and also the funding we received, we are going to have spots open available for our school as well. Depending on the day, we estimate between, in our numbers, we estimate between 70 to 100 spots per day will be available for students who do not get ELOP funding. So imagine every student who qualifies for ELOP funding signs up. We will have 70 to 100 spots available for students beyond that every day. And not all students who qualify sign up as well, so we could have more spots than that, but we don't want to promise something that we can't fulfill. It is going to be it is IA staff. It is going to be supervised and managed by our after-school coordinator, Mr. Gio. These are just some club options, and what it allows families to do is that it doesn't mean it's not just one option. So if they sign up for homework club, that's 5 days a week, that's full. Now, some of them are going to run Monday, Tuesday, some will run Thursday, Friday, some will run Wednesday. So our families can sign up for 2 days, they can do 3, or they can do 5. So it kind of gives families options of what they want to do. And these are just some of the offerings that will be. There'll be a Mandarin club, math club, sports club, running club, art club. We're still thinking of chess club. We might adjust that one because strategic kids, but we might keep it as well. So our families will have options to choose from. And so just so you know, these clubs came directly from the survey that we sent out at the end of the last year. So these were our top options. I know one that was mentioned in the past was Spanish. Just so you know that we only had 2 requests for Spanish out of that. But one thing about our after-school clubs is that they are going to rotate every trimester. So this will be the first trimester. If families have already missed the survey and there's a lot of interest for other clubs, we can actually change the clubs every trimester for our families. Or if math club is in bigger demand than other clubs, we can open up more clubs for math club. So we'll have that flexibility every trimester.
So will you be sending out a survey every trimester for the following trimester in terms of the clubs being offered, or how are you going to?
We can, I mean, that's going to be topics like a coffee with the principal. It'll be something that's sent out regularly through our updates. Dr. Henry's been working on a communication plan so that we kind of regularly communicate, but we also get regularly get feedback. So kind of be through a lot of different options. Because if you just do one survey, on average, I mean, I'll say we'll get 60 to 80 replies. We have a lot more families than that. So if you just rely just on that, you may not get a full picture. So, and I think when families see this, they're like, oh, I wanted this club, it's going to prompt more people to speak up, because now they see the reality of it. So we're hoping that more people will be able to get input that way.
But how are you going to collect those data points?
So,
yeah.
So we'll do a survey, but it's also going to be topics that we talk about at coffee with the principal. It's also going to be something that can be discussed at school site council. There's different avenues that we can discuss that we can get a variety of different input. Yeah.
So, how many ELOP students we're expecting?
We're expecting around 130. That might adjust when we do our data confirmation. But we project around 130 students. So that can go up a little bit, that can go down a little bit. that's kind of our estimate right now.
Do the parents know that their kids are ELOP or no?
They are, yeah, and that's one thing that we're going to be, I'm going to be sending out this presentation to all the families. With that, I'm going to be explaining what ELOP is, who qualifies, how they qualify, so that families are very aware of that. Yeah, and so if a family, if they're an EL student or if they're part of your reduced lunch, they are aware of that. They are aware of that already, and so it's going to be very clear that those are the criteria. So with ELOP this year, well, with the clubs, because it is utilizing ELOP funding, it does have attendance requirements, so we are going to have to take attendance. So if we are going to have policies in place, if students don't show up, they will lose their spot, because we don't want want people to sign up, never come, and preventing other students from coming in. So we are going to have that in place as well.
So you'll have a structure, you can miss 3 or whatever it is, there'll be some criteria
Yeah.
that's sent out so families are aware of that up front.
Yeah, because what we'll do is we're going to have, if families want to sign up, it's going to be a Google form. They put in a request, and once they are assigned to a class, there's a registration form that they fill out and return, and that's going to have that in there as well as behavior.
Can I clarify? I think, oh, it's on. So my understanding is we're sending out the survey to qualifying families first
Yes.
to sign up, so that they will know I qualify and I'm signing up, and it will go. He'll explain this in a future slide.
Yeah.
But also for the attendance piece, we are audited when it comes to the ELOP funding, and we do reporting with that. So all of those components are really important for us to meet those compliance pieces, because it is state funding.
All right, so just to kind of give you an idea of what it's going to look like, we have our homework club 5 days a week. This does not include that on this. But if you look Monday, Tuesday, those are the classes that are available. Wednesday, and then Thursday. So for a family, they can do Mandarin club on Monday, Tuesday. They can sign up for art on Wednesday, and then they can do sports club Thursday, Friday. So it allows a lot of different options for our families. A lot of our families want just homework help. They want their students to get that extra help. So we have space for we have a tentatively scheduled for about 80 students a day for homework help. But again, based off the registrations and signups, we can tweak that. But that's kind of the way it's going to work, and the format that it's going to follow. So a lot of families too, they may want something Monday, Tuesday, but they may not want something the rest of the week, because they have other things that they're involved with. So it gives us that flexibility with that. Next is the YMCA program. So this is licensed childcare, something that will be new to our school. They do have options that cover school breaks, before school, and after school. It is very flexible for our families, so I'll kind of show you a sample of the price sheet, and you can see all the different options they do. What their program covers, it does offer some homework help. It offers outdoor play, STEAM activities, enrichment clubs, character development, and leadership opportunities. That is the YMCA curriculum. So it is not a program where students simply go and they put on a movie and the students are just sitting in front of the screen the whole time. It's organized, they have a schedule that they follow, it's very structured. That's kind of how YMCA is going to run. There's full-time costs, depending on what they choose. A full-time cost for just 5 days a week after school is $538 a month, which is relatively cheap for that option, especially in our area. If they want something that covers before school, and there's additional non-school days that they will be able to do that for, they can go up to $699 a month. They can also do, I think there's 3-day options, and then there's 2-day options as well. One thing that YMCA does offer is that they do offer a sliding scale. It's through them for our families based on need. So a family, they need that extra help financially, They do have a sliding scale, so they do work with our families on that, and all the signups will go directly through them. And their information is posted on our website, but again, it's also going to be going out to everyone. It's kind of hard to see, but this is kind of what the different options that they have. So you can see that it varies depending on what they need. Again, this is on our website already. And then our third option, a third thing that we're going to have available for our families is through Strategic Kids. These are paid enrichment classes. So the tentative start for these classes is August 27th. A flyer will be going out the first week of school with more specific information. The cost is $120 per class, and it runs for 8 weeks. And those classes, it's either they can do chess, which is 2 times a week. They have Lego, which is once a week. They have art, which is once a week. So in theory, a family can sign up for all of these, because they're all going to be on different days, and they will have those programs through Strategic Kids almost full-time for 8 weeks at a relatively cheap cost. Because if you add up the cost per class, that childcare cost is usually going to be more expensive. So this is another option that we're going to have for our families. Working with Strategic Kids, 20% of those funds are going to go back to us. And this is ran by them, and the signups will be through them. So for example, kind of give you an example, they'll do chess Monday, Wednesday, they'll do Lego Tuesday, they'll do art on Thursday. So if a family wants to sign up for all of those, they will be there through that whole class, and they can get that extra, if that's the route that they want to go, because I know some of our families still value Strategic Kids, that's still going to be an option for them through that one.
And the Strategic Kids one is started on August 27.
Yes,
So how about the other after school thing? Are they starting
from the
same
beginning,
time?
yeah, first day of school.
The same day? No, the first day of school.
Yeah, the YMCA and also the Aqua Clubs, those are going to start the first day of school.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the parents should already will sign up before the
Yeah,
first day of school?
I'm going to go over the signups right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you get to part, so if I'm understanding this correctly, the clubs, so on first day of school, right after
Mhm.
beginning of school or after school, there's going to be clubs,
Yes.
Strategic Kids, potentially, first day of school, potentially
Strategic Kids will not be the first day of school.
Well, let's just say later.
I'm
though.
sorry.
So Strategic Kids, after school,
I'm sorry, Strategic Kids, clubs, and YMCA are all gonna be at this facility, maybe not first day of school, but let's say Monday.
Mhm.
So they're all occupying this facility in different classrooms
Mhm.
for different functions.
Yes.
So they're all gonna be here at the same time,
Yes.
well, relatively
Yeah.
at the same time.
And then-
And Geo is spearheading that coordination of which classrooms they're using on our facility at what time.
Yeah, so I'm working with him, but yes, he will be, once it's running, he is the point person for
He's
that.
the point person for that part of the coordination.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
And that's why his position was created.
Right,
for that.
right, well, that's why I want to be sure that that's clear, but you'll be watching him, but
Yes.
he's watching the whole program.
Yeah, and that's where the quality control comes into play, so.
Thanks.
So this, if we kind of broke it down to a chart for each of the different options, it kind of tells you who to contact. I don't think we have a specific contact for Strategic Kids yet, but it will be on that flyer on the first week of school. And it tells you, for example, after school clubs, who participates, students who receive ELOP funding. And additional spots will be open to all students based on availability with that projected amount. It explains what each of the programs are. So again, ELOP is extended learning opportunities. YMCA is a child care with daily physical and educational enrichment opportunities. And then Strategic Kids explains the cost. So our clubs are no cost to our families because we do receive that funding for it. And then how to sign up. So for our own clubs, families who receive ELOP funding will sign up starting on August 4th. So that will be going out to the students who do qualify. So for the question was, how will they know? They'll know because they'll be contacted on August 4th with that information, how to sign up. And then once we're going to give them a few days, and then we'll fill in spots. And then from there, we're going to be sending it out to the rest of the school as well, and they'll be able to sign up on a first come, first served basis. Registration will go out via Parent Square starting on August 4th for our clubs. YMCA registration is available now. It's on our website in our after school section. Strategic Kids, a flyer will be sent home during the first week of school, tentatively scheduled to start August 27th.
Question?
Yep.
So you just mentioned there's no cost for IA after-school clubs. But I thought earlier we said maybe there were some spots for non-ELOP qualifying students.
Yeah.
So there's a cost for that, right?
No, because we can't mix the two. And that's something that come up in the past. If we're running a program based off ELOP funding, then whether they're ELOP funded or not, it has to be free for our families. It's just if they are ELOP funded, we have to give them a priority.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know that's kind of why there's a little bit, that's the confusing part about it. But for us, we get that ELOP funding whether it's utilized by them or not. And that's why it's more efficient for us to use it this way, because instead of giving someone else all our money and they do what they want, it's cheaper for us to do it, to be honest, because we're managing it. And then we have those extra funds that we can then utilize and open it up.
So as part of the communication plan, just an idea is that we are openly communicating on the spots that are available for the club program. So families know that they have an opportunity to participate. There's a little bit of that, well, from last year, Strategic Kids was cheaper than YMCA. I've heard a little bit of that, right?
Yeah.
But here, there's actually an opportunity to have a paid-for, free club program, right?
Yeah.
And so that really kicks in if there are spots available for non-ELOP families, right?
Yeah, and with that too is, okay, well, maybe they don't get it 5 days a week, but they can get it 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So if they do need that childcare, they pay 3 days a week through YMCA. So they're paying less overall, still.
So your kid could end up in the homework club 5 days a week.
Yeah,
So potentially.
you don't have to do the YMCA
Right.
piece, right?
No, you don't have to.
So you could just be in the club piece, and you could have, if there are spots available, your child could have the homework and the running and whatever else and there's availability.
Yep.
4:30, till 4:30.
Till 4:30,
Till
yeah.
4:30, so they're in the club till 4:30, and they can be in the over club till 4:30, and then pick up childcare. After
They could be childcare, YMCA childcare, because I'm looking at the schedule here. After school only childcare, right? No dismissal till 6. So they can do both those things.
Yeah, I
if they
mean,
want to, right?
there's no requirement to do any of it, but they can combine it,
So they're piecing together pieces, but either way, the club is where the savings is for the parents.
Exactly, and that's
If
one
they
of the reasons,
participate.
and that's one of the reasons what running our own programs benefits
Right.
more of our families.
That's where they benefit,
Yes.
cost-wise.
Exactly.
It's
And
because the club is free.
yes,
I'm gonna call it free, but it's not really free.
well,
It's free to them, but it's not really.
it's funded.
Yeah, it's
a funded-
funded,
it's a
there you go.
funded program.
It's
Yeah.
funded, it's not free, but it's funded. Right, so it's funded and they get to utilize it
Mhm.
until 4:30,
4:30.
right? Until 4:30, and then they have a quality program, an enrichment program, right? Could be math, could be chess, could be, well, might not be chess, but even running club or something. So the other question I have for you, have you got our teachers assigned to these clubs?
Yeah, so we actually did surveys of our staff in the spring for those who would be interested in it. So we have teachers who are interested in it, and then we also have IAs who will be running some of these, and based on the budget, some of them are going to be full-time. And based on that full-time, they'll be able to facilitate some of these, so like a homework club. Or Laura is very proficient in Mandarin, they'll be doing Mandarin club. And they'll also be utilizing our teachers as well. So yes, we are staffed.
Okay, that's what I want to hear,
Yeah.
that part.
I have a list, we have a list.
You have a
of
list of
classes, and we
who's
have
gonna
names.
be, and who's gonna be running each one of these,
Yes, we do that.
potentially a backup,
Yeah.
person that could,
Yeah.
if there is needed.
So we have it staffed. Mr. Gio's been, I've been working with him, and he's been contacting people. Now, if somebody decides last minute, back up, we do actually have a few others that we could place in there as well.
And they can back up until, they can back out until the last day, until
And
they
there-
start, right? Then we
Yeah.
want them in there,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So who rallies the kindergartners to get them to the club?
So, it will be, so we'll have lists, the teachers will have lists, so they have a list that, like, they did with strategic kids, you probably don't see it, but the teachers have lists, okay, these students go here on this day, and then they go out to pick up with them. And then those who are running the clubs, or Mr. Gio, depending on the day and the clubs, someone will go and pick them up from the classroom. So they walk in the halls, they go to the classroom, they pick them up, and then they'll have a meeting point for them, and then they'll take them to the room.
Okay, so somebody's, it sounds like Mr. Gio's coordinating
Yes,
to ensure that kids get to the right place.
yes, yeah,
He's lost.
yeah.
It's gonna be a busy man. It's gonna be a busy man that first week.
And it seems like we have a really well-organized or attractive after-school clubs and without paying anything. And I was just wondering, so for YMCA, it's almost like if the parents need, because our club also covered the morning after school.
You can, yeah, for some.
So it seems like people want to join YMCA one is when there's non-school day.
Yeah, so they'll have it for non-school days. I mean, and at the same time, families just I want childcare 5 days a week. I don't want to worry about snack clubs. I just want them to be taken care of. We have those families, and we'll want to pick them up at 6 o'clock.
We'll
They'll
go to YMCA.
Yeah.
Okay, so the strategic kids will probably have to have really special programs to attract the kids.
yeah, and that's why they're specific, they're enrichment classes. So that's why they each have a specific thing that they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we probably need to let the parents know, because I think parents kind of remember the strategic kids before, to let them know this one is slightly different.
Yeah.
person.
So I'm going to be sending out this presentation as well as a write-up to go along with it, so to our families, and giving them a lot of this information, important dates, so that way they have that now and they can plan accordingly. And that way when the signs go out, they can sign up. Those are families who want to do the clubs but who don't get ELOP funding. They know that that week it will be going out. We can give a more specific time frame on when that goes out as we approach that date.
So we're coordinating, or we will be coordinating with Strategic Kids, for example, the chess. I know you mentioned maybe we're doing, maybe we're not.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be competing with them, right? We're just going to work in conjunction. They're only going to offer it 2 times a week, and maybe we offer it the other 3 days.
Yeah, well, for us, chess was gonna be 1 day a week, but yeah, we don't wanna compete with them, so that's why we might be changing that one. Because we kind of have a plan, Strategic Kids was what they can do, so okay, well, we might adjust our plan to accommodate that.
Okay.
I'm trying to imagine what the sign up for the clubs would look like. Where's that gonna happen, right? So you're gonna send out information or notification to parents whose children qualify for the ELOP,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So they get the first
Yes.
notice. Let's say 3/4 of them sign up, okay, just an example. And so then, how do you keep track of the availability in the other clubs?
Because we'll have rosters. So
You
we
have
have
rosters.
we have caps in classes and we have our rosters based on those signups. And so that's why some families, they may not get their first choice, but there's other choices that they may be able to get.
And so there'll be active rosters, because I can imagine that some kid who didn't get into the running club is watching it every week, that somebody drops out and then they can get in.
I mean,
Is that the kind of thing that can happen?
Yes, so we'll fill the classes and then we'll have wait lists that go from there.
Is it And where's the rosters posted? I mean, are they online? Is it
We
somewhere we can
manage
see?
rosters, we don't post it,
Yeah,
so
we
they'll be
post it.
communicated that they're in the class, they'll be told that they're in the class, but we don't post rosters because of confidentiality. But we,
Well, it doesn't have to be the person's name, but the quantities, right? Because what I'm getting at is, what if somebody drops out of the running club, and my kid, I don't find out till later, and, I mean, I'm not on a wait list or anything, and I decide
well, that's,
I want him to jump in.
So we have our
Or there's
first-
availability, let's say there's no wait list.
so when we have our first week, we can send out an update, these are how many spots that we have available now for our non-ELOP funded families. I imagine we're gonna fill up right away, and then from there, we will go to a wait list format. And so if somebody drops, we'll call
Or
them.
you'll pull from the wait list.
Yeah.
Or you'll call them
We'll
from
call
the
them
wait
from the
list.
wait
Because
list.
they may not want to go after
That's right.
they've been on that wait list,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so then we just work down the list from,
And Geo's handling that.
yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe on the website we have a web page where any of the families can look on a daily basis they want and just get real-time updates on which ones have which availability. I'm just thinking about
Yeah.
a way to efficiently manage it so people can, if we do updates on a whatever weekly basis, or there's some way to communicate it efficiently, so you don't have to send out emails or parent squares saying, oh, it changed, and people can go in and check.
I'll see what we might be able to do is put up a Google Sheets on the webpage. And then we can update that, and it'll be kind of like a live update.
Yeah.
Business no one can edit it themselves, but I'll see, that might be an option. I don't think so.
I'd hate to see somebody waiting, weeks and weeks, the spot's been open.
Well, if the spot opens up, we would contact them, but yeah, we can do.
You never know.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Something a little bit more dynamic, so that parents can see what's.
And so you're not getting emails all the time. Hey, did this open up?
Is it open? Is it open?
Well, and yes, but that's all Mr. Gill, he's also, he's starting this, he has time in his day built in specific for that communication.
Also,
Remember? Okay, remember.
Mr. Schmitter does send out a weekly memo to parents about what's coming up, and there can be an ELOP update that is a section, and then it won't be every club every week, but maybe if there is a club that has extra room or something like that, he can use those regular communication pieces that we already have in place to really kind of fill in those gaps as well.
I think they're gonna be pretty popular.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be popular, so they really are. It's our first year.
Sounds great, thank you.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, you're still stuck with me because I get my normal school update. So I'll transition to this now. This is actually outdated, where it said 5 of our 6 teaching positions have been filled. It's actually now all of them. So we actually, this morning, filled our last position, which was our Mandarin TK position, which is the most difficult one to fill for credentialing requirements. Well, so now we have all our teaching positions filled and staff ready to go. The majority of them are already onboarded or in the middle of onboarding right now. So that's where we're at with that. 8 positions are getting filled as well. By tomorrow, I expect all our IA positions to be filled, with the one remaining position is a PE aide, so we're still working on that one. But we're looking good to start the year fully staffed and ready to go. Next is the family handbook, which I believe you guys are approving tonight. I just want to give you a little bit of explanation on the actual updates in that. There's nothing new in it per se. The family handbook has been updated to reflect the board policies that have been passed. So you have a board policy on attendance. Well, that policy also needs to be reflected in our handbook, which then gets implemented in the school. So for the handbook that you're approving tonight, it's reflecting the various policies that have been updated. So that way, our policies are consistent with our handbook, which will be consistent with what we do here in the school. So I kind of want to do that explanation there. We've been working on various calendars internally for our organization because it's really important to be organized. So we have a variety of different calendars, and Dr. Henry has her hub that she enjoys. That is a central point for our staff to pull from. But I mean, talking about calendars, we have a calendar for coffee with the principal, for parent workshops, for events. We're actually going to be able to give our families an event calendar at the beginning of the year to all our families, so they can put it on their fridge and they know our event calendar for the whole year. Because that's one of the things I heard feedback we got is they want to know dates in advance because people have to take time off from work, they have to plan ahead. So we'll be able to give that out to our families as well. So a lot of work, and it sounds simple, but it takes coordination amongst the staff, and coordination with PTO, because PTO puts on events, helps put on events. We want to make sure their ideas for event, like dates, versus our ideas for dates, and that way we're coordinating together. So that way we are going to be planning on that. Our teachers are returning on August 5th, because we won't have another meeting before then. We actually have our new teachers and new IAs doing training on August 4th. That's something that we've added this year. Anytime someone's new, there's just a lot of information, a lot of things dumped at them all at once. At the same time, they're kind of prepping for the school year. So that we've been doing that training on August 4th for them to get acclimated, who people are, where they go to, if they need help with certain things, they get into their classroom, they can kind of start planning, thinking things through. So that way when they do get to August 5th, they'll be ready to go. We have a lot of different trainings going on through Aries, our new student information system, Lightspeed, which is our device management, so that way our teachers can know how to utilize it. Because now it's going to be very nice because our teachers will be able to see what the students see on their screen. Teachers will love it, students not so much. It also has keywords in there, so if a student's typing certain words, it will flag administration, so that way we were notified and we can follow up on that. So our students are going to be a lot more on task on their Chromebooks. We're doing professional development and classroom management so that we are consistent and prepared for the year. We do have some new curriculum coming into this year, so we have trainings on that. And then we have our PBIS kickoff, which is focusing on school climate, consistency among staff, and discipline. Kind of having systems in place and making sure that if students are doing great things, we recognize them. If students are not doing what they're supposed to, there's a clear way to address it and a clear process in how to handle that. So that way, our teaching staff, our RAs, our office staff know how to handle behaviors consistently, and that's one of the most important things is that students are dealt with consistently. So that's a big part of that. We did have our social studies curriculum out for over the last month, which I believe you're adopting tonight. We haven't received any concerns about that. It's been still, if you want to look at it, it's in the teacher's lounge right now. And then our teachers will be receiving training on thinking maps beginning in November to support our writing program. So that's one area that we've identified that we need to improve on in our school is our writing. And so thinking maps will be coming in. It's a common program, but it's a very effective program. I've utilized it years before, and Dr. Henry has as well. So we're going to be starting training on that in November and rolling that out throughout the year. So right now we're working on getting our school set up in Aries. So I'm kind of joking around. I've been living in Aries the last 2 days because it takes a lot of steps to set things up. So we're planning to do our data confirmation with our families starting on Monday, July 28th, which requires our families to update their information so that it's accurate. Now what we're planning on doing is that once they finish the data confirmation on August 7th, Aries will go. People will be able to get in Aries before that, but on August 7th they'll be able to see their teacher in August 7th in Aries. That way when we do our orientation on August 8th, which we are adjusting a little bit, there will be a meet your teacher component to it. So our families will then be able to go and meet their teachers that Friday on August 8th. We'll also, there's going to be a little bit more tweaks to it, but we'll have families, especially for our new families, we'll have student leaders who are going to be showing our families this is where you line up in the morning. This first day of school is always kind of chaotic with that. It's showing to the teacher. It's kind of really just acclimating them to the school. So really making effective use of our time for that. And again, just some dates that we should put out there, just so we're aware, the teachers return. Our family orientation is August 8th. And then we have our first day of school on August 13th. And then the next week, we have our first coffee with the principal and also back to school night on August 21st. So we're jumping right into it. Those are the dates that we're looking forward to. Like that. Questions? I've been talking for a long time.
So what time is the family orientation?
So we have different sessions, and that's going to be going out to our families. I have to make sure Aries is set through our parents' word, but that's going to be going out either today, or not today, either tomorrow or Thursday at the latest. But it'll be 10 a.m. for our TK and kinder families, because we wanted to, a lot of them are new to our school. Even our returning TK families, they're new to kindergarten, so it's changed. So we want to give them more time. So we're allocating more time, so that's at 10 a.m. Our first and second is at 1 a.m. Not 1 a.m., 1 p.m. Our third through fifth is at 2 p.m. And then our middle school is at 3 p.m. And the way it's kind of broken down is half the time is an informational session. The other half of the time is they can go on a tour to different parts of the school. Our teachers are going to have tables set up. They'll be able to meet their teacher. Our teachers will be able to kind of talk to them so they can kind of get that familiarity before school starts, for the first day of school.
Yeah, a couple items.
Yep.
One, I just really want to commend you on filling all of the teacher positions. I know there's a lot of pressure to do that and to fill them with qualified teachers at that. So thank you to the team as well. I know Betsy, I'm sure you were heavily involved as well as others. Thank you for doing that. And I'm sure that puts some families' concerns at ease for those that were concerned about that.
Yeah.
So thank you. The other thing on the handbook that you mentioned, just helpful for us to have redlined versions as well as clean in the future, just to be consistent on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing, especially I really appreciate it. I'm excited for the new school year.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, enrollment update and communication plan, Dr. Henry.
Good evening. So this is an update on our projected enrollment going into our 25-26 school year. We also added some data regarding a 4-year study, kind of seeing where IIA has been and where we're possibly going. I do want to, although we wanted to make this information as timely as possible, these are projections. It is really important. First day of school, we do warm seat counts, seeing who actually came and make adjustments as needed. So this is subject to change because we haven't started the school year yet, but it's as close as we have to the day. So here we go. So we wanted to start with a little bit of background information about how we project enrollment, what do we look at, and it is very multifaceted. We look at our facilities, what classrooms and what room do we have available. We then look at our current students rolling up to the next year because they do not have to apply again. Our students, once they're in IIA, have a spot for the following year. So we want to make sure that we can serve the number of students. So we look at, I call it rolling them up to the next grade level. We look at our classroom capacity. We do have a few, particularly I think it's 2 classrooms that are a little smaller than our nice size classrooms. So we look at and adjust the enrollment to make sure that we can fit all of our students. And then also we look at the budget impact with the enrollment. These targets then are aligned with the LCAP, with our facility use agreements with IUSD, and that's how we develop our staffing plans and look for necessary staffing, which grade levels, and if we have any need for new staff. This year, we've also been able to differentiate between enrollment caps because our enrollment was higher than our applications were higher than our capacity, which is a great thing to have. We were able to have a wait list, and so we were capping classes based on the ideal teacher to student ratio. So we look at that, and then you also may see another number that's thrown around because when Dr. Kernan set the budget for this year, and when we do budget, we like to be conservative with those numbers and projections so that we are safely and conservatively budgeted and don't have to cut things last minute if we're a little smaller than we thought we would be. So you'll see the budget, or the enrollment, looked at different ways. Wanted to make a note that this was the first year that we have full access to our facility. We have all the classrooms at IIA unlocked, and we have use of them, and that was based on our enrollment. If our enrollment goes down for some reason, then we may lose access to different classrooms over the years. So right now we're at a really good place with our capacity matching our facility. And then, so in 25-26, we will have full access to all classrooms based on enrollment. Here's a 4-year study, just so that you know where these numbers came from, because enrollment does fluctuate throughout the year. So for 21-22, 22-23, and 23-24, these are numbers that are on the CBE DataQuest website. So they take a moment in time, and that was our CBEDS Day in October. So that's the enrollment that is captured because it is the official data. Just so you know, maybe a few months later it changed a little bit, but I like to go with what's published and what is seen as the official data. So you can see our growth throughout the years. But another purpose of seeing this is that we have also added grade levels. So we did not have any TK students until 2023-24. So obviously when you add another grade level of students, your enrollment will grow. Also, you can see that our 8th grade class was a smaller 8th grade class, and the first class was last year. And so now as our 7th graders roll up, you'll see that that helps us to grow, as well as our new students. So this is a 4-year study. I can give you a second to see if you have any specific questions. It was just interesting to look at. Another thing that I brought up also to the board was that you'll see that we have some bubbles of larger classes and then some smaller classes that roll up. And so each year, as we plan, we have to adjust. So for example, last year we had a very small 4th grade class of 30 students, but we had a very large kindergarten class of 95 students. So as those move forward, we have to make sure we can accommodate them. And then our 5th grade will be smaller than it was last year because the 4th grade class is smaller. So we have to make those adjustments and roll the students up.
5th grade is no longer considered part of middle school for
Correct.
this school year, right?
Correct. We have tethered it back to the elementary model, or untethered it, I guess, from the middle school, back with the elementary program.
So have those adjustments been made or to be made in terms of untethering, like you said, to the way it was?
With the master schedule, and yes, absolutely. I don't know if Mr. Schmitter wants to add anything else. I think even we were re-looking at where the classrooms are to kind of reflect that as well. As the middle school grew, we want to make sure things are grouped together and that 5th grade goes back to the elementary model. So it definitely is reflected in our master schedule as well as kind of the placement of our facilities. Okay? So this is my favorite data slide. This shows you specifically from last year to the projected for this school year of the students rolling up. And I was really trying to wrap my brain around, there's two different things I think we want to see. One is how much bigger is that grade level from the previous year? And then how many more students were added or even subtracted to get to that number? So I'll give you an example. So if you look at TK, there were 67 TK students last school year. We're projected, and you'll see we have actuals, but we are projected where we can have up to 80 students. A part of that is because of one of those extra classrooms that we got. We have more capacity, and we gave up a TK section for Strategic Kids last year, and now with YMCA going out to the portable, we're able to take that room back, and that's why we have the capacity. So there's 13 more students projected for TK this year than last year, and because they're all new, that's going to be 80 new students. They haven't been with us before. But I can choose another grade level. We can look at fourth grade. So this year there were 30 fourth grade students. If you go across, next year we can have 64. But which is 34 more than last year, but it's only 2 more students, because if you look, there were 62 third graders who are matriculating down into fourth grade this year. So you can kind of look diagonally, you can look across, and the number of students. So if you look from 7th going to 8th grade, we have the capacity to fill 2 more students. In some of these where you see a negative, some of that is based on information we know that students may not be returning, but if they all returned, if all of the 95 kindergartners came to go into 1st grade, we would make room for them because that's part of our charter. Okay, if there are no questions. Here's where we are right now. So you have the same projected list of looking at kids rolling up and then maximizing class size capacity where we were. We have another column again that's new this year of like absolute maximums. If we're maintaining a class size in kinder of 28 to 1, how big can we get before we say no more wait list? And then you can see where we are at the moment. So right now, even though we have capacity for 80 TKers, with our keeping it 10 to 1 model and following all the rules, right now we have 67 enrolled. And my understanding is because most of our parents would like the morning session, and that is full, but the afternoon session is not. So we do have 25 on the wait list, but it could be that we do not fill all 80 positions if we don't have the families that are interested in the afternoon class. So again, we have the kind of projections, the maximums, where are we right now, and who do we have left on our wait list. I will say I was very impressed looking at today's wait list numbers. They're healthy. And we do have a wait list in every single grade level, which is sometimes unusual. So they tend to be lower grades mostly, but we have some healthy numbers, which means if you look, I'll skip forward, but I'll go back to your questions. With our next steps, we are going to be monitoring warm seat counts the first week of school, and usually they're done every other day the first week of school. So you're really counting students that are here, and if someone was supposed to come and didn't show up, calling the families, maybe they're on vacation or are they not coming, so that we really have a good idea of did our actual counts meet our projections. Then we look at our wait list, we offer seats if we have any based on the actual enrollment. We will continue to communicate regular enrollment updates. We do that every month to our authorizers. We submit our monthly enrollment to them, so they monitor our growth in enrollment, OCDE. We also have a table in our board updates so that every other week you can see the actuals of where our enrollment is every month in case there's any fluctuations. And then we will also communicate any changes or where we are with enrollment at our coffee with the principal, and also some other communication pieces that we're putting together. We will look and monitor with our back office provider, CSMC, any budgetary implications tied to enrollment. And just note, remembering that our apportionment for August through January, it's based on 24-25 enrollment. And then we will start to get our apportionment paid on actual enrollment. That starts in February. So those extra kids won't be in our beginning apportionment, but we had healthy numbers this last year too, and we budgeted that way, so we'll be fine, but it's just kind of a little piece of information. And a project that Mr. Schmitter and I are going to be working on, probably with Mario, Mr. Escalante as well, is really looking at what's our ideal enrollment. So looking at this current facility, pretending that we don't have 95 kids that are going to be cycling through for the next 6 years, what is our ideal kind of maximum enrollment? And with this current facility as it is right now, we're very close to there. We don't see any huge growth. But we want to make sure we have that, something that we can publish and let people know, like, and especially as we go work towards our charter revision. Any questions for me?
Thank you very much for putting this together. It's excellent. I'm curious about the process in which we manage the waitlist families. Do they know where in the waitlist they are? Do we provide check-ins with them, just letting them know, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. You're still on the wait list. Just some periodic check-ins so they know that we care about them and that we're still looking at their application and monitoring it.
At this time, I wouldn't be able to answer what has happened in the past. I do believe very strongly in communicating with our wait list, whether it be through a postcard, through a check-in. But that is something I can definitely find out. I missed the lottery process. It happened before I arrived. We did talk in our cabinet meeting today about what that looks like when we start to, I was asking questions about what does that look like when we have open seats? Do we meet again? We'll look at the total numbers and then how are offers made. But I do believe that once someone applies to IIA, even if they aren't able to get in, by keeping that relationship and letting them feel like they're part of our community, they could come next year, and it also creates kind of a sense of excitement and
absolutely
positive culture.
But there's just
Agreed.
this vacuum of communication, I think, when you apply for school and then you wait for the lottery and then you find out, oh, I'm on the wait list. And then, and then maybe someday you get an email saying, congratulations, 3 months into the school year, we've got a spot for you. And it's kind of like, well, where have you been?
Exactly.
So I
can follow up on that and definitely provide a board update. It's something I'm curious to learn more about as well, and really look into the process and how we're doing that. I do believe this is our first year with a wait list. I remember hearing someone say, at least with a wait list of this size.
Yes.
And so really putting together those procedures and practices of how we manage that is really important right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Just to touch base with them, to let them know that they're still
Absolutely.
on our list. Because maybe they don't want to be.
Right, things change.
Because maybe they've moved on, or they're happy where they are, and they went somewhere else. So it'd be good to know that that updates our wait list in a way, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
The only other, it's not a question, but I'm gathering that these numbers, you're keeping the ratios, student to teacher ratios, that's what this number here is on.
Yes, that's what those kind of like class, so let's say we have a class ratio for a grade level that's 30-1. And the kids matriculating up are 57, but we have 2 classes. We know, okay, with the current capacity, staying with our low class sizes that we have, we can add 3 more students, and it's not an extra class, it just will maintain. And so yes, class sizes are definitely looked at as we develop those maximums.
So I can imagine one having to hire another teacher even 2 or 3 months into the school year, right?
Right, and that's why we're looking at that ideal enrollment, because, and this is typical for any charter school, but as, you know, when you look at the 4-year, we had some fluctuations year to year. And when a charter school is trying to stay afloat, they're just trying to fill the school. They're not looking at, okay, let's balance out the number of, you know, kindergartens and first grade. It's like, let's get enrollment so we can stay afloat. Then you staff based on the enrollment. But if we get to a point where we can look at what is our ideal enrollment based on the current facility, and I believe we're one step closer. We do have some bubbles that will impact us for the next few years as the students, you know, continue to grow and stay with us. But it's nothing too significant, and we'll be able to adjust through that wait list to get us to our ideal enrollment.
Yeah, because I would think some of the higher ones might drop a little bit, right?
They could drop.
So that's, I mean, you know, it seems to be, or everybody seems to be focused on the lower one enrollment, but the higher ones could drop a little bit, right?
Right.
So
And-
even it out, help you even
And
it
you've
out.
got to watch the lower class sizes, the lower ratios as well as the higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next we have the Uniform Complaints Summary Report, Dr. Henry.
Actually, I have the communication plan.
Oh, sorry,
And then it
communication
was
plan.
kind of, they were put in together, but I
Yes,
separated
yeah,
them out.
no worries.
Okay, I will go very quickly. At a previous board meeting, our board requested that we put together a communication plan. And so I just wanted to give an update of where we are in the process and what work we're doing to put this in place. So at the request of the board, we are pretty far into developing this communication plan. Today, we're presenting the outline to you and the major sections that will be included. We did look at the draft of the communication plan, because the draft already exists, with our cabinet so that we could get every perspective, and especially being newer here, making sure there's nothing that I'm missing, that something that we're already doing that can be included and captured in this plan. So we did look at it as a cabinet, and we will continue to look at that. On our next major board update is scheduled for August 1st, so my hope is to have the draft presented to you as a board update for individual feedback. And then depending on that feedback, whether it's, you know, if it's ready, then we will hopefully adopt the plan in the August board meeting so that we can be able to share that. And the timing of that would be perfect because, as Mr. Schmitter shared, his first coffee with the principal is on the 21st. So if we are able to adopt the plan and we've already taken care of any revisions that were needed, then we can share that with our families at the coffee with the principal. And in August then, after we go through that, our communication plan will be posted on the website, just as we do other plans that we have. And ongoing, it's something that I'm looking at, especially as we're kind of navigating the first year, making adjustments or improvements as needed, and then we would bring another plan if there was anything major back to the board. So that's the process. The purpose is to ensure consistent, transparent, and timely communication that builds trust, strengthens community engagement, and supports academic and operational goals, and also reflects the missions and values of Irvine International Academy. This is similar to that purpose, but really going into the goals of having a communication plan. To me, it really is going to be our commitment of our communication. It also helps to direct our staff on what we're saying that we're doing and putting in place. I feel that it'll foster a positive school culture through engagement. The more people know and the communication is clear, the more our families and community will be engaged in our schools, and we're able to offer transparency. So those are the goals of the plan. These are also listed in the plan. Here are some of the sections that you will see. We have defined all of these areas in our communication plan. So we define our key audiences, who gets which communication, what our key messages are throughout the year, things about our branding and our vision that should be reminded or should be remembered in all of our communication. The biggest piece of it is this section 3, which is communication channels and tools, and we list every channel of communication, whether it be Mr. Schmitter's weekly memo, Ms. Zhang's bi-weekly Mandarin memo. We look at our LCAP advisory committee. So it's a very long list of all of the channels, what the purpose of each is, how timely they are. So his is weekly, hers is bi-weekly. We have some things that go out different times, and who the audience is. So it really is well defined. There's another section then that looks at by quarter of the school year, so almost like a timeline. What are some hot topics that need to be communicated out each quarter? Because there's a rhythm to a school year and a cycle. So we have that defined. Feedback and engagement structures that we use. For example, PTO isn't necessarily a school function, but a feedback loop that we have is that either Mr. Schmitter and or myself, we give updates in the PTO meeting. So those are kind of that feedback and engagement structures that we're building in as well. And then crisis communication protocols. I know that these are really defined in our safety handbook, so we want to make sure that they align. But if there is a crisis, what and when and how do we communicate? And then also, how are we going to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of the plan? So all of those sections are included. And then the one piece, like I said, I wanted to go a little bit deeper, was that channel and tools defined. So this is just a list of them, but again, there's a section of, okay, how often, who's the audience, what's the purpose, what is being communicated for all of these different areas. We're looking at how do teachers use Class Dojo, how often. Our middle school families will be using Parent Square. What is the purpose when the teachers use it? And we want to have a minimum and a standard and an expectation that everyone meets, so those things are more aligned. What is the purpose of a coffee with the principal? We have monthly parent workshops. Something new that I've shared that I'll be adding is an ED, an executive director advisory meeting. And those will be once a quarter. And what is the purpose of those? So all of this will be included in that plan. But I even added board meetings, because this is a very important area of communication, as well as board updates to you and kind of standardizing those. LCAP advisory meetings, ELAC, school site council, our school website. I'm looking closely at social media, trying to kind of capture where we are on that, and then we're looking at surveys as well. Any questions?
So what is the town hall meeting?
Go ahead.
Sorry, town hall.
So the way I see a town hall meeting, and again, we're bringing this to feedback, is the way I have it written right now in the plan is it's as needed, and that is if there is something, and it kind of defines the purpose, that so there aren't scheduled town hall meetings, but if there were something that we needed to bring everyone together to address, whether it be something, a project that we're working on, or something that, a major change, or sometimes there's something that happens in the community that requires a town hall meeting. And so those are really as needed, and they're, it's very well defined. It's when you bring people together because you want immediate feedback and input, you want to deliver information, but you also, it's kind of a back and forth in the town hall. So it's a little different than what the advisory committee meetings will be, because those will be scheduled, but we'll have that there as a mechanism in case we need them.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm just looking at the quantity of channels that you have here, and yeah, I can't imagine that you're missing an audience, because there's quite a bit here.
And there's actually one more that came up at Cabinet today after I had already created the presentation, that Ms. Zhang is doing, she's doing a Mandarin advisory council
Yeah.
just for the Mandarin, and it's, I think, 5 times a year is how she defined that. So I said, when that came up today, I'm like, oh, we have to put that in the communication plan, so that will be put in. That's why we got that feedback to make sure.
Yeah, there is that, the Mandarin part.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that looks great. You know, there's a lot here, and I think, like I said, there's a lot of channels here. It certainly covers a lot of the audience, so there's something for everybody.
And I think it really is how we use them.
Yeah.
And that's why kind of defining it in a communication plan is so important, because we have these channels, but how are we using them to maximize the communication?
No, this looks great. I think it looks great.
Thank you for putting this together, and I just had one question. My key thing is always responsiveness, and I know you've mentioned it too,
Yes.
but that there is a set standard and expectation that when we receive a communication from a parent, that within a certain number of hours, days, whatever it is, be clearly defined, that everyone in the organization knows that we need to respond within the set period of time, every time, right? So the parent understands, I sent you communication within 48 hours or whatever it is, I'm gonna get a response. I've received your email, I'm working on it, it doesn't need to be resolution, but I've heard you and I'm working on it. So I
Yes.
hope that's part of the communication
Yes,
plan.
absolutely.
Okay.
It's something that I will need to talk a little bit more to the team about, because I have seen just in other organizations that they already exist as part of the handbook, or so I want to make sure that that piece is aligned to other communication channels we have. But absolutely, the response, and that was a discussion we had today as well about the importance of responsiveness.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I have one more, but this will be really short.
It's the uniform complaint.
Yes, so the uniform complaint summary is a required presentation every year. We are required to present this to you. I have a definition of what a uniform complaint procedure, it's a state mandated process. It's used by California schools to investigate and resolve complaints with specific definitions. And we have a uniform complaint board policy that's posted on our website that really clearly outlines and has a form and everything else of how this process works. And so the reasons are things like discrimination, harassment, retaliation, and violations of Title IX or other state requirements. So it's a very specific type of complaint. The uniform complaint procedures ensure that all complaints are addressed fairly, promptly, and in accordance with established procedures, which are outlined in our board policy. And then we are to report each year on how many complaints have been received. So although we have received complaints, we have not this school year received any that went through the uniform complaint process. So we know that we've had some other things that have been presented, other complaints like a notice of concern from our authorizer. So this is not to say that there have been no complaints, but we have had no uniform complaint procedures that have been submitted. So in accordance with California Code of Regulations, we have to present this each year. So the number of complaints that went through the uniform complaint process were 0. So we would report each year if there were any for next year, the general nature of the complaint. There's always a written decision, and then the number of decisions appealed by the complainants. I do want to say that when we met with OCBE, when Mr. Freeman and I did, one of the things was, one task that they gave me was to make sure we're communicating the different channels of complaint to our community, because I was very impressed. We not only have the uniform complaint procedure process posted and a policy, but we also have a general complaint. If there's a different type of complaint, we do have a policy and a form and things like that for that. So just making sure that people know what our procedures are and what's available. And that's all for that piece.
Thank you.
Actually, before we transition to the next piece, that's why she was looking at me, Miss Betsy Serrano is going to come up and give her updates to the employee handbook. But while we're here, I did want to introduce someone because this will help with that transition. So as we are aware, Ms. Serrano is moving on. She will be exploring her dreams and her horizons. This is a very good thing for her. But we were able to hire a new director of HR. So I am pleased and privileged to introduce Ms. Eva Opamasic. And she comes with us. She's going to say a few words, just introduce herself. But she comes with a lot of HR experience. She actually had been kind of working with and knew Betsy and been mentoring as we were going through some of the processes. So we really think this is going to be a smooth transition. She'll be on the personnel report for next month because her start date is in August. But I'll turn it over if you want to say a few words.
Hi, good evening, board. Thank you so much for welcoming me today. It's a pleasure to get to know the team, to start to learn the community, the representation of this wonderful organization. I'm excited to join you. We've been starting working on this smooth transition until my official start date, but it's been already a great pleasure to get to know the organization, how it all works and ticks, and I'm excited to take you on to the next level and just support the team in any capacity I can. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really excited for this chapter, new chapter in my life. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, we wanted to welcome you. Heard wonderful things. We're very excited to have you join. So thank you very much for starting with our team.
Hello everyone, good to see everyone again. Again, my name is Betsy Serrano, the current director of HR and Operations. I'm gonna this. So I wanted to just provide like a very quick overview of some of the updates that I made to the handbook. And this is based on the changes that our school has been going through, and it's also trying to follow like what other charter schools or other districts are doing, but then making sure that we are taking care of the needs of our employees because we're an international school, so it's not going to apply just for like any other school as well, or like other districts. Okay, so for just overall, pretty much what I did is I reorganized the sections so there's more clarity and flow, making sure that whatever section is next just makes sense with the previous section. So that's one thing. I also was able to update a lot of the terminology and the formatting, like the subheadings and the headings and the titles. Like I was very intentional about that part. In addition, some of like the school name usage, these are very like technical things, but it does matter when we're hiring new employees and they're reading through this. So there was a lot of attention to detail when it came to updating the handbook. Okay, so for added sections, one thing we did add was the probationary period. So essentially what we did is for the first 90 days, thank you, employees going through a probationary period and they may have an evaluation. That just helps us and it helps the employee be able to kind of check in to see what they're doing and how they're doing in their new position. There's also a workstation policy, so essentially every employee that's assigned to a workstation that includes a laptop and also like a desktop, that is just their workstation to use, and you're not able to log into each other's workstations and laptops. That's just very basic, like cybersecurity and ensuring that, confidentiality and things like that. I added a section on credentials and certifications, and that's to also keep up to date to our new job description. So as you guys saw a few months ago, we were able to update the job description, and in there we added sections on certification. So just to say that employees are responsible to keeping that all up to date. We added a section on expense reimbursements just to make the process a little bit more clear, because currently it's really just mentioned in the fiscal policy, but I wanted to add it into the handbook as well. The temporary assignment pay, we've been seeing some employees are kind of filling in other spots, so trying to figure out, well, if you're working in a different capacity, are you supposed to get paid a different rate? The answer is yes. So kind of updating that and like the rules behind that. And then I did add the salary schedules, the 2 new ones that we created, which were classified and management, all the rules behind salary placement. For our school, we have a lot of folks who have international experience. We do take that, but then it's also thinking about how do we translate that experience here, or also just how to translate that experience in English with the forms and documentation. So just kind of really setting those guidelines. And then I added all of the stipends in as well, just to make it very clear. And then these are sections that I updated that were already existing, but just to kind of make more clear language. I won't go through each one because it's kind of a lot, but I will kind of point out, we did update our core hours, I believe from 7:30 to 4. It used to be like 8 to 6. So kind of just transition that to make it more, I guess, reflective of our employee hours. But then I also added information about our after school hours and, school operations at that time. And then the service animal policy, we haven't had to use that yet, but was able to kind of expand on that. And then for vacation and sick leave, so that policy had like the most change. Essentially, depending on the classification, if you're a 10-month, 11-month, or 12-month, how many hours you work a week, you get a certain amount of vacation time and sick time, because before it used to be just if you were 10-month in general, you would get this, but that's not totally fair to other folks who are working more months of the year. So just to kind of make it more fair and consistent. And then in addition to that, sick leave as well, I updated that. Depending on the type of classification, you get a certain amount of sick hours. And then for the protected leaves, just made sure to add in any legal language because there's been a lot of updates with that. And then the internal complaint process, so essentially we just kind of made it more clear what actually Dr. Henry was talking about earlier. When there is, like, essentially outlining the process and the channels of when a complaint is being brought forth. So kind of like, who do you go to first? Of course, we didn't add in language to restrict anyone from going directly to whatever, level, but we did kind of suggest a process to make it a little bit more streamlined. Are there any questions so far on any of the changes? So for next steps, we're going to be having a welcome week for employees. So when all employees come back, I'll be having, Eva and I are going to be presenting the changes. Really, it's going to be the responsibility of each employee to read through. I know it's 63 pages and it's a lot, but it is their responsibility to read through and really understand. We'll be available for any questions or if they need to clarify anything. And then, in addition, because of our timeline and honestly, because of, the timeline, I wasn't able to get this reviewed by legal just yet, but I actually did send it over to them and they got back to me that they can have an updated, like with all their edits by August 8th. So that actually will be, that updated document will be presented next board meeting with any of those changes. So pending legal review, we'll go ahead and have the handbook effective after tonight. So, any questions?
So, on that, you said pending legal review, so what does that mean? So what if we approve it tonight and they come back and say, you to make these changes, then, because we need to see what those are, right? I mean, we need to understand the ramifications of approving the document.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think right now, especially more so like our procedures, I wanted to present that to the staff before, especially that welcome week.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, I will say, this handbook has already been reviewed by that team last year, so a lot of the stuff has already been updated. I don't know, Dr. Henry, if you want to add anything to that.
Another piece that we do as well with the handbook and the way it's presented to the staff is through our vector system. So when Ms. Serrano said that we ask everyone to read it, that they actually have to certify that they've read it through our vector system. Our planned time for them to start working on the vector system starts on August 8th. What we could do is, if the changes don't necessitate us pulling back the handbook and we're able to present it or to approve it pending legal blessing and certification, her nuts and bolts presentation in the scheduled week of welcome is not until August 11th. So we will have that information by August 8th and we can communicate if we're going to need to pivot or pull it back if there are any major changes. But I don't think we foresee any major needs or changes that legal will bring forward, because a lot of it was based on the work that they already brought to us, and then a lot of it is aligning it to things that the board has already approved, like the new salary schedules and the job descriptions have already kind of gone through this process. So we don't foresee any major issues. Working with our legal team before, I could see that maybe there's a word here and there that could change, but we can definitely, if it's pending legal review, we can also state that we will not move this forward until, as long as there aren't any major revisions.
I can also add that a lot of this was used as reference from other charter schools and districts in which it has already been, they're definitely earlier in their timeline.
Yeah.
So I was able to use a lot of that language as well.
Okay. So one, I guess part of the ask with the outside, is it YMNC that's reviewing, or is it someone else?
Yes.
It's someone else, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the law firm, part of the question to them, because they're gonna come back with something, right? They'll say, yeah, you should probably tweak it, are there any legal concerns? That's what really I'm getting at, right? It's not about, modifying some of the language here and there. Are there any concerns in its current format? Right,
No.
that's the question to them, right?
Yeah.
After they've had an opportunity to review it.
Okay.
Because we wanna be presenting a document that's
That's been approved, right?
That's
And
gonna
less
help people
Thursday,
stand it.
Agreed, so I
Yeah.
think at this point, the message, and they were communicating to us right before the board meeting, that they have it and they're looking at it, that again, this is for any legal concerns and not necessarily doing minor revisions that aren't necessary, because I've noticed that a little bit with the legal that we've worked with, that when we're asking them to review, they want to do a good job, and so they even will recommend just minor things that aren't material. So,
yeah, we're gonna need to add some language to the motion, yeah,
And the legal.
and no concerns. No concerns about proceeding forward from legal. One other comment, actually I've got two, but one particular is related to any handbooks that we're asked to approve. It would be great to have the red line version and the clean version so we can see the differences, as well as the staff can see the differences for those that have been here before. Yeah. But my other comment is I just wanted to thank you. I know you've been part of the school for a few years now, right? And really appreciate your teamwork, your support. You did a lot. I know you did a lot, especially this school year. We're gonna miss you. So,
Did want to work remote.
did a lot. Yeah, I know you work remote. You were here, and then you worked remote, and then you came back. And I know a bit of your history here. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you. I also just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and make an impact. It's been such a privilege serving the community, so.
Absolutely, and I would have to tell Eva there, she has some big shoes to fill.
I always want to thank you. I actually read through the handbook. I'm just so impressed. It's very thorough, but it's easy to read. And you covered everything. I mean, when I was reading it, I thought about you truly know the ins and outs about running the school, and not just like that. You also know the teacher's role, and it's amazing. And it set a very good boundary, so made this school a very safe place if we all stay in the boundary and follow, So thank you so much. We'll miss you.
Thank you for your kind words, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'm excited for Eva's transition. I think you're gonna be in great hands, and she's just gonna be able to make the HR department blossom, so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to items for discussion and possible action. Item A is approve the 2025-2026 Irvine International Academy Employee Handbook. The IAA Employee Handbook has been updated to reflect current policies and procedures and include relevant updates to state and federal laws and regulations. LCAP Goal Action Goal 1, Action 2, funding source not applicable, budget, financial impact not applicable. It's recommended that Board of Directors approve action item A. Is there a motion?
So I can say this, right?
I motion we accept, we approve the Irvine International Academy Employee Handbook pending the legal review, any major updates from the legal review. I think I said that right. Did I say it right?
And their approval letter should proceed
With the legal review approval that we can proceed. Pending any major updates.
Thank you, Felipe. Okay, thank you, Molly. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Okay, next. Approve 2025-2026 Irvine International Academy Student Family Handbook. IA Student Family Handbook is updated annually to meet compliance standards and to ensure alignment with current local, state, and federal regulations. We will distribute and publish the Student Family Handbooks to ensure transparency and compliance. LCAP Goal Action Goal 3, Action 5, funding source LCFF, budget financial impact not applicable. It's recommended the Board of Directors approve action item B. Any further comments on this one? We already talked about it earlier. I have just a general question. Has this been reviewed by legal as well?
Typically it's not, because it doesn't, it's in line with what the policies that have already been approved, that have gone through.
Is it only those, or are there other things?
The changes to this?
Yeah, has it ever gone through legal? I guess I'm wondering if it's ever gone through legal.
I don't think it has. We've had discussions about this too, about what goes in the handbook, and it really is, the handbook is our schedules and our bell schedules, and it's informative, and then the policy is pieces of our approved board policies that are written in there. So, and some of those go through legal and some of those do not. We have not put the handbook through legal. That is something that we can look at moving forward. We've also talked about other ways to utilize the handbook in the future. I wasn't here long enough coming in
Yeah.
to do that, but really kind of making it, part of a student planner and something like that, like making some major revisions, and we can look at the legal review as part of that as well.
Thoughts? So I do have, thoughts on that. I'm not sure, based on what they're telling us, the policies and practices have already gone through and these are all excerpts from those policies and practices, right? Which I think is probably okay. But I have a different question on is I noticed that this document, the Student Family Handbook, has to be signed by every student. That's what I'm seeing here on page 39. Is that really going on? I don't recall signing that.
Do you want to answer, Mr. Schmitter?
Oh, Mr. Schmitter.
It goes under data confirmation, so there's two ways they can agree to it online during data confirmation, and they check that they've already agreed to it. And then, for the families who don't do that, then the last bit of there is a signature page that we do collect.
That you do collect,
For those
okay.
who don't go through that process.
That tells me my wife did these. That's what it tells me.
Or
because
she
I
could
remember
have,
seeing
checked the box in the data
She checked
confirmation
it.
that it was read, and then the physical
Okay.
paper signature isn't
So
necessary.
in the case where they don't do it through the data check, they can do it here, or you collect it here. Okay.
But the data confirmation is only one time, and if we have students who come later, we want to have a mechanism for them to review the
So they
handbook.
can go through and they can do it this way. Okay. I don't really have an issue with the legal reviewing of this document, but that's up to you.
I think it's okay. Because everything in here came from our policies.
So not everything here gone through the legal process, right? That's just your
In
question.
the handbook, no, I mean,
Not in the
there's a lot of just informational things that are like dress code and calendars and bus schedule. But those items have been, I mean, outside of updating the year, a lot of those items have not changed.
Like this one, gun-free zone, right? We don't need legal to go through that, right?
Yeah.
The handbook also serves to capture a lot of required pieces. Some of it goes through the handbook and some of it goes through our data confirmation. But when we get advice from Orange County Department of Education yearly about like annual notifications, things like that. So we use those two mechanisms. So a lot of that are things that are given to us that we have to include in the handbook. And the uniform complaint procedure form is also in the handbook, and that's what I just presented on. So it's communicated a few different ways.
It's okay with me. Yeah.
So, I guess my question is, in this, even just what I read out, it says, student family handbooks update annually to meet compliance standards. And I guess I'm wondering, how do we know that we're meeting these standards? How do we know all the things that are included in the handbook are meeting the standards?
There are communications that come through Orange County Board of Education, and that's to all districts in Orange County, not just because there are authorizers. So it's standard through their child and welfare department that they send to you any required updates. I don't believe there were any this year. And then in our annual notifications, that is our kind of second legal piece, it comes from Orange County's legal to us with any other things that need to be updated there that don't necessarily go in the handbook. So we do get communication and are on all of these listservs, so we would be notified really through a variety of means. If there was something new, legal compliance, that we would have to make sure that we had to add. So we haven't seen anything like that come through, our annual notifications will be notified. Those are a little bit shorter kind of ed code things, but that's how we know. It would be communicated with us in all schools.
So that tells us what is new and what needs to be added, but I guess we've never really had an owner of the family handbook over the years, right? I mean, you inherited it, right?
Yeah.
Right? But it came out before you, right? We had one before you. Dr. Bean was overseeing that, I presume, and I don't think we had you one. So, I don't know. But I guess I'm wondering if we've never had a review of it, then...
I can pretty confidently say that going into last year, you guys did not bring that to legal. No, and a lot of that's because a lot of it's standard things that have to go in there, and it's education code.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if we set the table of contents and said, you know, which of these, and we sent the document, you know, and said which of these are the areas you probably would want to take a look at. I guess I want to make it efficient, right? I'm not interested in incurring a huge bill. It's really about, there may be, you know, the calendar, the bell schedule, things of this nature, maybe not
Those things.
the issues, right? But there may be other things in there that maybe, and I'm just concerned, we're approving something here we really don't know. We don't know if it's compliant. We say, well, these are published, we put them in there. It should be compliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are very standard, a lot of the items that go in these handbooks everywhere. But we can definitely maybe approve this pending legal review. Mr. Schmitter and I can take a look at the pieces that would rise to that level and need to be looked at. Things like our own dress code policy or things like that don't need to go through legal. But again, a lot of these things are written just based on education code. So if it's standard education code and not anything IIA specific, with the permission of the board, I would not put that through legal review because they would just be reviewing their own education code. But if there is anything, we'll take a look, and if there's anything that is IIA specific, and it could be an interpretation of the education code, we can have them look at that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've never done it before.
Right,
It's a good
right.
time to start.
Okay.
That's just- Are you guys okay with that?
So I'm just looking at the index, right? I'm just going through the index, right? And so,
Yeah, so I'm just going through the index, and so I would say the majority probably doesn't need a legal review, but, you know, it kind of talks about some discrimination stuff in here, right? And cell phone, electronic devices, you know, just to make sure that we're not saying something discrimination statement. Probably a good idea, just for a couple of these things that they get looked at, but not everything, right? So like the dress code, I don't think we can put that in there, right?
And even if the pieces like, and I don't know, so we'll look at it, and if it is, some of those pieces that aren't IIA specific are the required pieces, and it's just ed code.
Sure.
Right.
So we'll look at that, we'll look at it carefully and submit portions of it to our legal team.
So like, so there's like when pupils with temporary disabilities. Yeah, I'm sure there's some there, right, that probably needs to be reviewed just to make sure we're not in violation. Suspension and expulsion is probably,
Those are aligned with the ed code.
Right, so maybe not that, but, you know, a couple other things in here, wouldn't hurt.
And it would be good to know after that, hey, everything's great.
Absolutely.
So then that's great, right? We can report that out too. Or, I mean, there's some areas, maybe a couple areas, right? We had some good suggestions.
You know why too? Because they're signing this. The family is signing this, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it might be to say that we had it.
So what we could do, we're not making motions yet, are we?
Yeah.
We could make a motion to approve the document. We can make a motion, or I will make a motion, to approve the family handbook pending, I don't want to say the full review, I'm going to say it's, itemized review of certain topics within it. You know, because I don't want to do the whole thing. Just look at some of these that may need to be updated or reviewed. That's my motion. Did I say that right? Pending an itemized review. There we go. Legal review. So my motion is to approve the document pending an itemized review of the document. Legal review. Okay. That's close enough.
Barring any concerns.
Barring any
There are no
concerns.
concerns.
It'd be nice to have that, only because we're signing.
Is that clear?
It is.
Okay.
I've written it
Okay.
down.
Is there a
I'll
second?
go through it. I see.
All right, thank you, Molly. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Item C, approve declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2025-2026 school year. The declaration of need is an annual document required by a local education agency as a prerequisite for the issuance of any emergency permit and/or limited assignment permit. The 2025-2026 DON, Declaration of Need, allows IA to apply to the California Commission on Teacher Academic Development, BCLAD, and/or limited term assignment permits for teachers. LCAP Goal Action, LCAP Goal 1, Action 1. Funding source not applicable, budget, financial impact not applicable. It's recommended the board of directors approve action item C. Any comments?
This is a standard item that we have approved every year. I will let you know that working with Betsy, we overestimate a little bit what we think we might need for the BCLAD. For example, you heard from Mr. Schmitter that we just made an offer for our TK Mandarin teacher today, but we had to complete this, and then once it's signed, it'll need to be submitted. And so we try to overestimate, if needed, what we might need for this school year, and then if we don't need it, we don't need it. But it is, especially being a dual immersion school, we have those two sides. We have the side of the BCLAD as well as the fully credentialed. And then, just as we did with the local indicators, we'll report back to you how we landed with that at the end of the school year through the LCAP process.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Is there a motion?
I motion we approve.
Thank you, Felipe. I'm happy to second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Approve social studies curriculum adoption. New social studies curricula was piloted during the 2024-2025 school year by our elementary teachers. The teachers selected SAVIS for students in grades K through 5 as a core curriculum for social studies instruction. Curriculum is displayed and available for review by families. The cost for the 3-year adoption is $26,375, including professional development for staff. LCAP Goal Action, Goal 1, Action 11, funding source not applicable, budget, financial impact, $26,375, already reflected in the 2025-2026 budget. It's recommended the Board of Directors approve action item D. Any comments?
No, we presented this at our last board meeting when I did the curriculum presentation. This was something that was piloted during the school year. We have had it up for review, and it will be the elementary social studies curriculum. We did not have a previous elementary social studies curriculum. We did for middle school, so this will be our first time. But with that price, that covers consumables, the whole program for 3 years, as well as ongoing professional learning for our teachers, so that we'll schedule that. We are going to be scheduling those on some of our early release Wednesdays, so our teachers can really learn how to utilize the curriculum.
How many sessions is that of the professional development? Are they multiple? I'm assuming they're multiple sessions, but how many sessions?
I am not sure. I do have the quote. I can take a look and see. I have it with me right here to make sure to see if it's on the quote. Usually It tapers off over the 3 years. I have worked with Sabbath's curriculum before, so I can say in my experience, we'd probably scroll down, but in my experience, they do a large training in the beginning because teachers need to log in and know all the components. Then they'll do that first year a follow-up or two, and then it's usually one per year after that.
Okay. I like to know what I'm getting for my money.
Exactly.
26,000 is a lot of money.
So you mentioned that this is the first time where you have a social studies curriculum for elementary school. What is the time slot they're gonna put that in? What is being replaced or substituted?
Do you want to answer that question, Mr. Schmitter, or? I don't believe it's replacing anything. It's actually giving a standardized curriculum for them to use for social studies instruction, that there already was social studies instruction, but I'm going to let Mr. Schmitter answer.
So our ELA curriculum letters has a small social studies component to it, and that's what we said we were doing. This is very minimal, and our teachers were supplementing materials already for it. So this is actually gives them a real social studies curriculum instead of piecemealing things together.
So they won't have to supplement it.
Yeah, and one of the big things about this curriculum during the pilot is the program is very straightforward, and knowing how instructional time is limited, this one was the most effective for that.
I like to hear that.
Okay, is there a motion? Thank you, Molly. I'm happy to second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Next item, approve 2026-2027 school calendar in alignment with surrounding districts and observed holidays. IA has created the 2026-27 master calendar. This calendar is published approximately 1 year prior to the start of the designated school year in order to provide adequate time for planning and facilities use requests. LCAP goal action not applicable, funding source not applicable, budget financial impact not applicable. It's recommended the board of directors approve action item E. Any comments?
We pulled IUSD's calendar, some other calendars. It doesn't match exactly because we have the extra week for the Lunar New Year, but all of the start and they're very close. It also followed our calendar from 25-26 that was approved for this year. Exactly, just with the shift in the days. So there weren't any major changes. It kind of followed the same rhythm, cadence, number of student conferences, the same needs. So there weren't any major changes that were made.
So has Ms. John reviewed the calendar?
So she brought up today that she wanted to look at the placement of the week for the Lunar New Year, and that was an issue last year. So I had already put this on here for approval, knowing that I said, please, this was today, send me some more information. I wish I would have had that beforehand.
Yeah.
And then if we bring it for revision, if we
Okay.
look at the week, but we have to also look at like instructional minutes and everything else. So that could happen,
Okay.
that I could bring a revision to you. And unfortunately, I didn't have that background knowledge.
Yeah.
And I did send it to many, many people. Please put your eyes on this and review it. But I didn't get that. I think it's done. Yeah, but I wasn't aware of
Okay.
the
That's where I'm
issue
going.
that had occurred
That's where
with
I'm
the Lunar New Year. So that is on my radar right now, and if you don't mind, we can go ahead and approve, knowing that I'm taking a deep look at that. She's sending me the information, and then we'll bring it. We're still early enough that if we make that one revision at the August meeting, it will be okay.
Okay. Do you need us to approve it today? Or would you rather just have it lined up for the next meeting?
We can table it for the next meeting. There isn't a rush. We were a little bit ahead of schedule for this one.
I just don't want to create any confusion with this is the approved
Yeah,
calendar.
I can see
And then
that.
we just update it again, and I'd rather get it right the first time.
Absolutely. Okay.
You guys, okay.
So
You certainly can use this as, you know,
Oh,
talking
yeah.
paper, right? But the actual approved one, I'd like to approve it just one time, right?
Okay,
And I'd like to see the lunar week moved up one, because that's my birthday.
oh,
That's my birthday week.
well, that's
so
why we celebrate it,
I
right?
would be very happy, I
Okay.
would be very,
We'll give you a
excited
week off
if
for
it
your
gets
birthday.
moved up 1 week, yeah. So
Okay.
let her look at it.
All right,
Okay, so we'll table this to the next board meeting. Okay, moving to the next, approve the 2025-2026 Workplace Violence Prevention Plan. In 2024-2025, IA developed and implemented a workplace violence prevention plan. This plan is required by SB 553, signed into law on September 20th, 2023. Each year, employers in California are to review and make any required changes to the plan. For 2025-2026, our team reviewed the plan and updated the name of the executive director. LCAP goal, action goal 1, action 2, funding source not applicable, budget financial impact not applicable. To recommend the board of directors approve action item F. Any comments?
we were being very proactive with this one. It didn't necessarily need to be approved again. It was just a change of name from Dr. Kernan to mine. But they do require that you review it. So I put this on here in abundance of caution. I wanted you to know that it had been through the yearly review by Mr. Escalante and his team, and then also, and Mr. Schmitter, and then really the only change was changing Dr. Kernan's name to my name.
So is this plan taken from, I see it's required by SB 553, but the plan was made available publicly and we are using that plan and just adopted it and updated it with the names? Or did we actually create a plan?
So this plan was created by the IIA team last year.
Yeah.
Last year was the first year that this was implemented. Legal templates were sent out. Then this board approved.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was at the July meeting because I went back to review. So this is the IIA plan that used the legal template. And because it was a new requirement, I remember when this plan came out, there was a lot of guidance and direction given. And so that's what the IIA team used when I was talking to Mario about, well, we don't have to have this approved every year, it just has to be reviewed. But since there was even the minor change of the name, I thought it doesn't hurt for us just to go back and have a more recent approval. But I was checking on the guidance for that too, because it is relatively new.
Is there a motion? Thank you, Molly. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Felipe. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Item 11, Executive Director's Report.
Yes, thank you. So I did want to start with some very exciting news. Today we found out that for Parenting OC for the 2025 Reader's Choice Awards, Irvine International Academy was awarded and as the best bilingual school for 2025. So we are racking up the awards. It's very exciting. I just received that today, midday. And so I will be meeting with the team over at Parenting OC to better understand. And then I did get probably about 4 o'clock a letter of kind of what is included with that award. And then do we have other options for branding that we can use as well? So really gathering that information, but included is, I have the letter here with me, is we will be listed in the magazine as Best Bilingual School. We're able to use the logo that publicly, if we would like. We will have some copies of the magazine that we can share, 25 to 50 extra copies. We are able to advertise in other issues, but I'm going to be looking at that, of course. And so anyway, there was quite a letter of some benefits for that. I have worked with Parenting OC before, and my understanding, actually, in our front office here, we had some of our staff recognized, 2 of our staff members were recognized as Employees of the Year, and it's a good program to work with. This magazine does get exposure, it gets our name out there, and so we'll look at, getting the Editor's Choice Award for Best Bilingual School is very exciting. If I can read a little snippet of what they wrote, I think this is really nice. When we received the letter, they said, thousands of our readers across Orange County cast their votes, and your school stood out as one of their absolute favorites. This recognition is a true reflection of the trust, quality, and excellence you bring to our community, and we couldn't be more excited to celebrate with you. And then they say, please see the attached letter and additional information about timelines and things like that. So very exciting and unexpected, but a very nice unexpected surprise. So very pleased with that. And then for my other updates, I did want to, we've had some questions throughout the community, and I did put out a communication to all of our families about the CAST resolution. And so we just did want to share, we had not had an opportunity to share at a public board meeting that it has been resolved, and that we heard directly from the Director of Security from ETS, the Educational Testing Service. So they worked in tandem with California Department of Education and gave us a written kind of closure that the case had been closed. I want to take some time to thank Mr. Gio and actually the rest of our team for our summer programs. As Mr. Schmitter said, tomorrow is the last day. I've been very impressed with the enrollment. Mr. Gio has sent me enrollment every day just because I was curious. So every day he tells me how many students are in attendance. And we really haven't dipped far below, which wouldn't have been I would have expected that the enrollment would have dipped. So I was very pleased with that. I also do want to thank Betsy Serrano, even though she's no longer here, for her work. I've been very impressed with her. I can even say through my own application process and my interview process, I shared with the board once I was hired how impressed I was with her professionalism, her communication. I am very proud of her for going back to school, and I feel like the work, I've told her this, that the work that she did here in HR is really going to go hand in hand with what she's studying. She's going to be so well prepared. So I'm very proud of her, and I do want to thank her for her work. Some of the other things I was going to share, Mr. Schmitter shared, but for the hiring update, we are very pleased to have our major teaching positions filled, and even having most of the IA positions filled. That is quite a task. And for the hiring, I was in the second interviews of our staff. I let them go through the screening. I've been very impressed by the quality that we had. As we said, we had 150 applicants for these various teaching positions. So we were able to take very high quality people that we interviewed, and so I'm very pleased with that. Mr. Schmitter talked a little bit about the Week of Welcome, which is how we're addressing our pre-service days. We're going to make it a very welcoming, culture-building experience by adding that new staff orientation on the 4th. We will pay them to come a day early so they get access to our team. We're going to build culture, teach them what it means to be in IIA. I'm really trying to bring the fun and the excitement, and also kind of making everyone feel that they're part of this community when they're new staff. And as well, you heard about some changes to our orientation process. It took a while to kind of get a handle on what that looked like before, but we really wanted to move the needle a little bit to make it, yes, it's very informative and we want to keep that piece, but we also want it to be student-centered and fun and help generate excitement about coming back to school for our students. So we worked on planning that, and I'm very excited about that for orientation, and they'll actually get to meet their teachers. And then again, we've been working really hard about putting some systems in place. The event calendar, I think everybody's gonna be very pleased with that, and Mr. Schmitter has been working very hard. But we're aligning it to our PD calendars. We're trying to plan ahead, coffees with the principals, our parent workshops, everything coordinated and aligned. So I couldn't be more pleased. The summer is moving very quickly. I can't believe teachers are back in 2 weeks. But we're excited for next year. That's it.
Thank you very much. Board directors reports.
I can hear the excitement in you guys, and that made me really excited too, this new school year. Thank you, the principal, and also Betsy and Dr. Henry. Your hard work, I mean, it's just amazing. Thank you. This is also, you were doing this in your summer break. Well, not summer break, not break, but a summer. And I appreciate that. And I look forward to another year. And I can see the staff and the teachers and the students and parents coming together. And this is a big family. So thank you for your hard work. And I'm here for you guys. And I would like to participate more, get involved, and so look forward to.
My turn? Oh, yeah, I want to thank all the staff and Dr. Henry for all the hard work that you and Grant are doing here. I did want to talk a little bit more about this OC Parenting Award. I know it's a pleasant surprise, but it really shouldn't be a surprise because last year Amy, the staff, the teachers, the students, the parents, the board, everybody worked very hard toward, and that reward, this is the reward of that hard work, and so it pays off right here, and so I was reading here that they're going to allow us to have their little logo on our website and stuff. I noticed that we're talking a lot about updating the website, and we kind of talked a little bit about that there probably should be somebody designated full-time to be dealing with our website, because it seems like this year we're going to be putting a lot of information on there. So somebody who's very familiar with how the workings of the website and updating that, I think Grant's doing it now, right? Are you working on it a little bit here or there?
Yeah, I do, the sections I did.
Yeah, I think you've got plenty of things on your hands and you don't need to be dealing with the website, so maybe somebody could be designated as a website person to do that, because I have a feeling that we're going to be using it a lot more. And the last thing I have is that, guys, you only have 23 days left before school starts, and that includes the weekend. Without the weekends, that's 17 days. Okay, I counted them. So you got a lot, based on what I've seen here, you still got a long ways to go. So just to let you know, just to keep you on track, on schedule, okay? But no, great job, guys. Looking forward to a great next year.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate the school, the staff, the families, and thank Parenting OC for recognizing the school. It's always great to be recognized, and the school, we have, our best days are in front of us, and I agree, Molly, it's very exciting. You can feel the excitement for the new school year. It's hard to believe it's around the corner. I wanted to thank you, Felipe and Molly. David's not here right now, but thank you for your time, your hours of dedication, and for your care. My real only update is I wanted to let the community know on the governance committee. There were 3 members, Molly, myself, and the executive director last year. And we've removed the executive director from that committee based on public comments. So it's Molly and myself right now. It's already been removed from the website. So I just wanted to make that update, and thank you to those that are here in person. Appreciate your coming, your dedication, and to those that watch this afterwards. So thank you all, and please enjoy your rest of your summer.
23 days.
23 days, yeah, including weekends. Okay, moving to the next item, adjournment. It's recommended the board adjourn the regular meeting of the Irvine International Academy Board of Directors on July 22nd, 2025. Is there a motion?
All motion.
Thank you, Felipe. Is there a second? Thank you, Molly. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, it passes. Meeting adjourned at 9:06 p.m.